Pooh Bear's poem for nature is definitely really sweet, but I think it could have been structured a little bit better. This is the latest Me and Winnie the Pooh vlog, and Pooh Bear has written a poem about nature, and it's a poem to say thank you for nature. And he starts off by clearing his throat, and quite amusingly says that he's clearing his throat to tell people that this is an indication that he's about to read a poem, which made me laugh because it's not something I ever really thought about. We clear our throat before reading to make sure that we can speak clearly, but it is very, very true that if you watch a TV show or a film and somebody is about to read something, they will always clear their throat, even if they've been talking for ages beforehand. And it definitely entertained me. So not for the reason Pooh Bear said it, but nevertheless, it is very true. And then he reads this poem. And the poem itself is good, but as I said, I think the episode should have been structured differently because Pooh keeps stopping every couple of lines to describe what he's said. But the pleasure of listening to poetry is listening to the words as they flow from one to the next, listening to the transitions between each line. And if you stop and start constantly, you're not getting that pleasure of listening to it. So it's not really going to encourage young children to enjoy listening to poetry because Pooh Bear is constantly interjecting. It would have made so much more sense to read the poem and then comment on it. And it would have worked just as well because he could have said the lines, said the whole poem, and then commented on the rhymes that he had or things that he was mentioning. And that would have made sense. It would have worked just as well. But we also would have had the benefit of enjoying the poem in its entirety. Of course, the other way would have been to read out the entire poem and then read it again and analyse it. But obviously, these episodes are only about 2 minutes each. So if they were going to do it that way, the poem would have had to have been shorter. But I'd argue a shorter poem read in its entirety and then perhaps reread and analysed would have been better than this longer poem where Pooh Bear is stopping and starting. You do not get the satisfaction of enjoying listening to it. And I feel like this was created by somebody who doesn't enjoy listening to poetry. The poem itself is very good, but I had no pleasure in actually properly listening to it because Pooh Bear was constantly talking around it. So it had a really great opportunity to show children or viewers in general that you can listen to a poem and become immersed in it and thoroughly enjoy it. But what Pooh Bear is doing is ruining it by stopping and starting and discussing what he's said and before he gets to the end of the poem, and that's never a good thing. So it's not great in that regard, but it is a celebration of nature, and it might encourage anybody to write their own poem, which I'm fully in support of. So there are some good things about this, and the animation is stunning. It is definitely beautifully animated, no questions there. So definite room for improvement, but Pooh Bear's poem for nature still has some really good things about it.